Now at 10 and streaming on crossroadstoday.com, a high school senior becomes the new member of a local volunteer fire department. A local university teaches students how to have respectful conversations during disagreements. And Victoria County receives a special designation for helping residents stay safe during severe weather.
While we expect sunshine for tomorrow and milder temperatures, we are looking for rain rolling back in later this week. We'll have all that coming up in a moment.
And we're going to have multiple track meets taking place here in the Crossroads. I'll highlight some of the top ones to watch out for later on.
You're watching 25 News now at 10. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Don Brubaker. New at 10, the Cuero Volunteer Fire Department is growing its ranks, adding a new member today with a unique background compared to other firefighters. 25 News Now reporter Trent Whiting was at a VFD meeting tonight, and he shares the story of the student turned firefighter.
Say that again.
Jason Walter, the newest member of the Cuero Volunteer Fire Department, will have to fight fires around his full-time schedule as a senior at Cuero High School.
Looking around for jobs and stuff that I can do in the future, and they showed up at our career day, and so I just kind of felt like coming and seeing what it was about and decided to fill it out after spending the day up here.
Walter was sworn in during Monday night's VFD meeting. The group unanimously agreed to approve their new young squad mate.
I feel very excited and very happy. You got something you want to do, just do it, especially if it helps out somebody.
VFDs across the nation are suffering from a lack of volunteers.
Volunteerism is something that's the core network of a volunteer fire department. Membership is just dwindling.
Walter's addition may give some hope for future generations of volunteer firefighters.
Faith has kind of grabbed a hold of the younger group now. They're starting to go in there. Well, when you get into a church, believe it or not, you're volunteering your time. You just don't realize you're doing it because you're giving testimony to somebody else when you tell them about your experience. We'd like to do the same thing here.
Trenton Whiting, KAVU TV, 25 News Now.
Victoria County Animal Services welcomes a new director. Today, Victoria County Commissioners appointed Crystal Riemenschneider to the position. Former Director Mark Sloat resigned in December of last year. Riemenschneider is from Cuero. She brings a commitment to animal advocacy and hands-on animal rescue experience to the position. Texas A&M University Victoria hosts a week-long civil discourse forum to teach students respectful dialogue and leadership skills. The program focuses on listening before responding when disagreements arise. State Representative A.J. Louderback says successful conversations require emotional control and compromise.
To actually listen to what a person has to say and keep your mouth shut for a little bit, then you can have a form of civil discourse that could only grow.
Louderback emphasizes that listening and respecting different opinions builds influence. Sophomore Charlie Ward says he learned that compromise develops patience and self-control. The Civil Discourse Forum continues through Friday. And Texas A&M University Victoria is starting to build its own police department. The university hired Jerry Duran as its new Director of Public Safety. Once the department is officially up and running, he'll step in as Chief of Police. Duran brings more than 15 years of experience from Texas A&M San Antonio, where he helped grow their department from the ground up. Now he's taking on a similar challenge in Victoria, working with local agencies and building a new force based on safety, accountability, and community connection. Time to check on our weather. Let's go to Mac Pettis with a first look at the forecast. Mac, did we get as much rain as you thought we might before the front came in?
Yeah, no, we didn't. I mean, we did get a good inch of rain down in Calhoun County, about 3/4 in Victoria County. Actually, it was less up toward Gonzales. You know, I wish we could have get, a solid 1 to 3 inches, but we got less than an inch in Victoria County. While we have sunshine for tomorrow, we've got another storm system. And in fact, through the next 7 days, we have several opportunities for rain. We'll be talking about that, taking a look at your 7-day forecast coming up in just a few minutes. So stay tuned and we'll toss it back to Don.
All right, Mac, thank you. When severe weather hits, knowing what to do can make all the difference. And Victoria County is once again being recognized for making sure its residents are ready. Since 2009, Victoria County Emergency Management, working alongside the National Weather Service in Corpus Christi, has earned the Storm Ready designation. That means the county goes above and beyond to educate the community about dangerous weather, especially life-threatening storms, so people know how to stay safe when it matters most.
We work with our community members to do presentations throughout the year, like Storm Spotter and Storm Ready community presentations. We also look at the Mid-Coast Hurricane Disaster Conference, and also educating the folks in the public just to have a NOAA weather radio and staying informed, looking at their local media weather teams to really stay informed about weather items and weather incidents and weather events that may occur.
Out of Texas' 254 counties, only 65 are designated as storm ready. In the Crossroads, that includes Victoria, DeWitt, and Lavaca counties. Authorities are investigating a crash that killed 2 people in Lavaca County. It happened Thursday evening on U.S. Highway 77 north of County Road 240. DPS says 54-year-old Ruben Perez Jr. of Hallettsville was driving southbound on US 77 when he drove onto the shoulder, overcorrected, crossed into the northbound lane, and hit a northbound pickup truck. The driver of that truck, 67-year-old Daniel Elizondo of Yoakum, was also killed. A passenger in the northbound vehicle was airlifted to a San Antonio hospital. A driver suffered life-threatening injuries from a crash in Victoria County. It happened Thursday morning on FM 616. DPS reports 37-year-old Paloma Sandoval of Victoria crossed into oncoming traffic and hit a van driven by 47-year-old Jeremiah Moyers of Inez. Moyers was airlifted to a Houston hospital. Sandoval was taken to a San Antonio hospital with life-threatening injuries. A road closure will impact drivers. TxDOT started a full reconstruction of the Briggs Boulevard Bridge today. It will take about 10 months to complete, closing the road during that time. Once the bridge project is complete, the City of Victoria will repave Briggs Boulevard and a section of Millette Drive. Victoria City Council meets tomorrow night when council members will discuss and vote on renaming the Victoria Community Center after beloved community member Gary Moses. Council will also get a presentation on a possible short-term rental registration program for the city. Council meets at 5 p.m. Tuesday at Council Chambers in downtown. A local high school student is on a mission to make sure his hometown gets the welcome it deserves while working toward one of scouting's highest honors. Michael Bargenbrook is a sophomore at Industrial High School and a member of Boy Scout Troop 364 in Victoria. He brought his Eagle Scout project idea to county commissioners this morning. He wants to build a new welcome sign near Highway 59 and FM 444, greeting travelers as they enter Inez. Bargenbrook says he's proud of where he's from and believes a simple exit sign just does not do the community justice.
My Eagle project will consist of a welcoming sign to Inez. It'll probably say welcome to Inez with the zip code under it, and it is hopefully going to be a staple of the community because right now the community only has a exit sign to identify itself.
Bargenbrook plans to ask for donations of both labor and materials from construction companies in order to build the welcome sign. He says the construction should begin in about a month and hopes the sign will be finished by this summer. If you see news happening, call our newsroom at 361-576-0026 or send us an email at staff@crossroadstoday.com. Summer travelers are warned to brace for higher ticket prices. Stay with us. Coming up on 25 News Now at 10, the booking advice and airline expense pressures. And an urgent search is underway for an American woman who vanished at sea. A murder trial for a former FedEx delivery driver who kidnapped and killed a 7-year-old North Texas girl begins tomorrow. Tanner Horner is charged with the murder and aggravated kidnapping of 7-year-old Athena Strand. Strand was reported missing by her parents in Wise County in late November 2022. Her body was found 2 days later not far from the family home. An arrest document shows Horner told police he accidentally hit the girl with his delivery vehicle while in her driveway and that he got scared after she said she was going to tell her father about the collision. Prosecutors said they plan to seek the death penalty if convicted. Travel experts are warning people to book summer trips now because ticket prices are likely to go up soon. It's due in part to rising fuel costs because of the ongoing war with Iran. In tonight's Consumer Watch, Jen Sullivan has advice for summer travelers and ways you can save.
Jet fuel prices are soaring, and summer travelers are being warned to brace for higher ticket prices.
If you are traveling this summer and you need to book a flight, book it immediately.
Going.com travel expert Katie Nastro says the sooner you book your trip, the more likely you'll get a good deal, especially now. That's because the war with Iran has caused a global disruption in oil production. Maritime traffic through the Strait of Hormuz has effectively halted. As of Monday, the average price of regular gas in the U.S. was $4.12 per gallon. Since the war broke out, gas prices have jumped more than 38%, according to AAA, and other types of fuel costs are rising for the same reason. And that could mean higher airfares for travelers.
Jet fuel is a large expense for airlines. It's roughly the second largest expense for them.
Jet fuel prices have doubled in the last 2 months. Fuel represents 20 to 30% of their overall costs, according to airlines' financial reports. And Nastro says it's risky for airlines to drastically increase prices.
If demand completely bottoms out, then they're going to have to soften their prices.
Here's a tip if you're looking to travel this fall. Nastro says if you book a main economy ticket now and prices drop later, most airlines will allow you to rebook at a lower cost. The difference will be used as a credit towards future travel with that airline. For Consumer Watch, I'm Jen Sullivan.
Communication between Artemis 2 astronauts and Mission Control has been restored following a planned blackout. The outage started just before 6:45 tonight as the Orion capsule passed behind the moon. About 40 minutes later, signals were acquired once again when the spacecraft emerged on the opposite side. As this happens, the Artemis crew got to experience Earthrise when Earth came back into view on the opposite edge of the moon. To get more news, weather, and sports, come to our website, crossroadstoday.com. Now the urgent search and rescue operation underway for an American woman in the Bahamas. ABC's Victor Oquendo has the latest on the ongoing search.
Tonight, an urgent search underway for a 56-year-old Michigan woman who vanished at sea in the Bahamas after falling off a small boat. Authorities say Lynette Hooker was with her husband Brian when they left Abaco Inn on Elbow Key around 7:30 p.m. on Saturday, riding in an 8.5-foot long dinghy back to their yacht. Her husband telling police that due to poor weather, Lynette fell overboard and was swept away by the strong currents, taking the boat's engine key with her. The forecast for that evening showing some scattered storms. With the boat's engine shut off, her husband telling police he had to paddle back to shore to get help, reporting her disappearance around 4 a.m. the next day. Lynette seen in this video just days before she went missing. For hours yesterday, authorities combing the waters for Lynette, joined by the Coast Guard. They say it's unclear if she was wearing a life vest at the time. For Americans traveling to the Bahamas, the State Department cautions boating is not well regulated there, and Americans should always follow local weather and marine alerts. Victor Oquendo, ABC News, Miami.
Well, good evening, everybody. We're looking at 59 degrees right about now. Lots of sunshine today, but still on the cool side because of the north wind. Well, that's ending now. We're slowly going to be picking up the southeast wind. It's going to start warming us up. In fact, we're looking at warmer weather for the rest of the week. 76 was our high today, but we'll be close to 80 tomorrow. And then we'll talk about additional rain chances to the end of this week. All that coming up in a moment. Well, good evening, everybody. Hope you had a nice Easter. I know it was a little chilly there on Sunday. I was out with a grandchild looking for eggs, and so it was tough with all the rain and everything. Today, of course, we had that nice sunshine. That felt good. We had that north wind, kept us on the cool side, but that's going to be ending because the east wind is going to kick in by tomorrow, and as a result, we start warming back up. Now, high pressure was over us today, but that is rolling eastward, and now all the focusing I'm going to be doing is on this. This is an upper air storm that's coming across the southwest. It's going to skirt north of us, so it's not really a direct hit, but let's just say that we'll have the moisture piling up, little bit of instability arriving, and those two combinations will give us a shot at a few little showers as we get into the middle of the week. And then later in the week, we get a little bit better chance as another system comes through. Rainfall totals, this was what happened on Sunday. So yeah, the numbers were not as impressive as originally thought. Hallettsville, 3,600, Yoakum, 36. Victoria, the west side of the city, got 62. Fannin got 63, and Woodhigh. In fact, I think from Woodhigh, well, most of Calhoun County did get probably almost an inch of rain, so it was good. It was not enough. We'll see if we can get more this week. And of course, the timing was really bad. So tomorrow we'll get up to about 79 in the sunshine, then we'll slowly get up into the 80s. By the time we get to Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, we actually pick up a lot of moisture. Not only moisture, but cloud cover, humidity, and potential for a few little showers. Now, here is a future tracker for Monday. We go forward into Tuesday. It's still fairly quiet, but you notice that this system starts rolling out of the southwest. So is it going to be that good for us? Well, not necessarily. So here we are. We're going into Wednesday. You can see how it really kind of falls apart, and the main system actually starts traveling up into the plains. And then as we get to Thursday, Friday, that's when you see the big surge. We'll have a strong southeast wind giving us the fog and the low clouds, but that will also give us a shot at a few little showers for the afternoon hours. I mean, that looks a lot more intense than I expect it to be, but a little bit is, you know, better than nothing. Sure, we've got a long way to go before we catch up with our rainfall. So tomorrow, day planner for those of you down in Port Lavaca, things are looking pretty good. You're going to be a little cloudy in the morning and then sunny, partly sunny in the afternoon, temperature topping out at about 76. For those of you in Cuero, you're getting up to about 78 degrees, almost 80 degrees. You'll notice that the east winds are going to start rolling back up, and that begins the warming trend. As we get into Thursday, Friday, we start picking up slight chance of a sprinkle or two, better chances Thursday and Friday, but we'll be getting up into the low 80s by that time. We'll see if all of this goes together, so we'll hope that on these 3 days at least we have an isolated chance of an isolated shower popping around the area. That's your 7-day forecast, reminding everybody we do have a QR code. We'd love for you to scan that, put Crossroads a Day on your phone, and we'll toss it over to Maxwell, who's got a very special report. Maxwell?
That is right there, Mac. After the break, it's time to sit back and relax. I highlight the deep history of the PVIL, an all-black football league. I'll showcase the full history coming up next in sport. So as we know, here in Texas, it is king without in the high school and the college level. But way before today's action, though, here today, one league in the state of Texas created stars and broke barriers from 1920 to 1970. Here in Texas, all types of football is king, from the smallest of towns to the biggest. But a new league called the Prairie View Interscholastic League, or for short the PVIL, was formed as Texas' all-black high school sports league that took place from 1920 all the way to 1970. The league consisted of 500 teams and went through the toughest parts of segregation into the civil rights movement.
Segregation is illegal. Well, the South ignored it. Most of Texas ignored it. It wasn't until LBJ signed the Civil Rights Act in '74 and told the schools, you better get your act together.
McLean, a longtime reporter for the Houston Chronicle, teamed up with director Mark Burns and producer and Port Lavaca native Rob Lynch to highlight the overlooked history of black athletes in Texas. They called this documentary the PVL Story Separate but Equal.
Of the inspiration for this film that we're doing now was from my days I spent in Port Lavaca. My dad was the head coach, and it was in kind of the early 70s, and there was still, you know, a fair amount of racism going around.
These memories from Calhoun High School turn over to the big screen, where the film highlights multiple Pro Football Hall of Famers that were part of the PVIL, in Mean Joe Green, Ken Houston, Mike Singletary, and Dick Night Train Lane. These men, along with others, had to deal with the limited resources and equipment that they had to experience during this time. McLean describes one moment that Mean Joe Green told him that he had to experience while in the PVIL.
North Texas State, because they didn't have it. Joe never got to dress in a locker room because the locker rooms were white, and they had to have pregame and halftime and the end zone, whether it was raining, lightning, thunderstorms, and the only good thing about it, he said, I got to see a lot of majorettes.
To add on, blacks were allowed to play in white stadiums, but only on Wednesdays and Thursday nights instead of Friday nights. However, even with everything seeming to go against the PVIL, most of the players and coaches didn't feel bitter about it and still found a way to enjoy the game, especially the Turkey Day Classic that took place in Houston.
In the 40s, it really became, the standard bearer, the standard bearer for the PVIL, the event of the season. It was the largest revenue producing event for the Houston Independent School District for that season, and literally helped to fund HISD athletics for the entire year. Standing room only, crowds lining the field.
The PVIL team that took place here in Victoria was FW Gross, and they were in the 1A state championship in 1949 before they lose to Orange Wallace 34-13. But over in Corpus Christi, there was new history being made for the PVIL.
Yes. Pete was the head coach of Corpus Christi Miller in 1960. They won our first integrated state championship. Now, they were one of the few school districts that had complied with the 1954 Supreme Court ruling, Brown versus Board of Education, with 5 or 6 black players. Half the team was white and almost half was Hispanic, and never played another team with a black player. Wow. And they went all over the state because people didn't want to play them.
Corpus Christi Miller breaking the mold for integration in high school sports across the PVIL. It wasn't until 1970 where they officially would merge with the UIL, and the PVIL would end as a whole. Even though the league would end, it still showcased a sense of all the star talent and perseverance that all those players had to deal with.
Andre Ware, who did not play in the PVIL, but knew had it not been for those guys, Kenny and Joe and Emmett Thomas and Night Train Lane and the guys before them that paved the way and endured the hardships, it opened the door for so many black athletes.
You can catch the PVIL story separate but equal at the Leo J. Welder Center tomorrow night at 6 p.m., where there'll be a question and answer section held afterwards with the director, producer, and everyone else a part of the film. If you want to check out some bonus features as well, they will be available at MadDogEntertainment.com.
Move it over to track and field season as we're going to start up district action here for multiple Crossroads teams. They begin their journey out to Sterling first with their Furio Lady Cats and Bobcats. They're going to compete out in the Kennedy district meet that's going to be held there this Thursday. Then for Ganado, Shiner, and Bloomington, they'll have their district meet held at Ganado High School. It's going to start Wednesday going into Thursday. Then in 3A District 25, Region 4, Tidehaven is going to be hosting the district meet where they'll have teams like Edna, Hallettsville Industrial, and Yoakum be a part of that. Goliad will host the District 26 meet, and 4A Cuero will host the District 28 meet, with Bay City hosting the District 29 meet out in 4A, with Calhoun going over to Rockport, and then West and East will travel out to Rosenberg for their district track meet starting on Thursday. So a lot of district track meets, a lot of different places. Wish all those athletes out there luck. And finally, we had the men's national championship game just finish up, and the Michigan Wolverines win a big time. They 69-63. And again, I always say this, and Don knows this, I'm an Ohio State fan, but I will give Michigan credit, right? Again, Big Ten team, give them props up. Elliot Cadeau led the way overall, having 18 points in the game as Yaxel Lindenborg helped out with even an injury that he had out there with his ankle, had 13 points out there coming off the bench. So props up to Michigan winning the national championship. That's going to do it here in sports. Don, back to you.
Max, thank you. A 6-year-old girl makes it her mission to help children with cancer. Stay with us. Coming up on 25 News Now at 10, the art auction fundraiser and $100,000 goal. Finally tonight, a 6-year-old girl from Pennsylvania is making it her mission to help children with cancer. Kaylin Lundell is holding art auctions across Pittsburgh to raise $100,000 for St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. But where did the idea come from? One day, Kaylin was in the car with her mom when a commercial for St. Jude's Hospital came on the radio. And that's when Kaylin's mom, Tia Lundell, came up with a rather novel idea. She proposed an art auction to raise money for St. Jude's, the artist, children just like Kaylin. Kaylin says the kids at St. Jude deserve to enjoy something other than fear and pain, something normal, something good.
Absolutely. I mean,
Come
on.
And this is a
Drawing?
6-year-old brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant, and so
say.
giving, so caring.
Yeah.
Well,
that young lady.
to just, hear the message and then try and formulate something out of it.
Right.
And
Great stuff.
St. Jude's pays for everything. I mean, pays. It's just an amazing thing. Danny Thomas started it back in what, the 50s or 60s.
It got to be.
And big shiny hospital in Memphis and saved many a life.
Many children. Well, folks, for tomorrow, we've got lots of sunshine. Temperatures will be a little bit milder. It'll be a beautiful day, actually, with lots of sun. But the clouds roll back in by Wednesday, Thursday, and we do pick up an additional chance of a isolated shower or two. I don't expect this to be heavy thunderstorms, but we got a chance of popping a few little showers as we get all the way into Friday and Saturday.
How many counties do you think, just off the top of your head in our viewing area this week, might want to end burn bans after what happened over the weekend?
Well, I would say you should keep the burn bans on because the little rain that we got in some counties, less than a third, will sink into the ground and evaporate. In 2-3 days, it's all going to be gone. So, and I think even if they drop the burn bans, we all need to be very careful with that because we haven't greened up completely yet.
That's right. Thank you, Mike. Thanks for joining us. Jimmy Kimmel Live starts now.